The 2015 Porsche 944 Challenge heads to Phillip Island this weekend, and we've got plenty of action coming on Blendline TV. Before we get into the racing action though, we sent Wayne Healy to catch up with Cameron Bella and Mark Talbotts down in the pits.
Round 1 winner Cameron Bella here in the 944 Porsches. Cameron here at Phillip Island, mate. How'd you go at qualifying?
Yeah, qualifying wasn't too bad. The car felt a bit slow, but I think everyone sort of was because it was raining. But yeah, we got 7th, so not bad. But we'll hopefully move up a bit in the race one. So yeah.
How's the car feel at the moment? Is it going okay? Was there an issue?
Yeah, there was a big issue. We had to pull the whole motor apart yesterday. I didn't get one lap in the car, so we're basically using qualifying as testing. Yeah, but we've seemed to have got it back together now and it feels okay. So just got to get confidence back in the car again and try and get some positions back. So yeah.
Are you down on time or at the moment, or are you down on horsepower? What do you think it is?
Well, this is the fresh engine, so we shouldn't be down on horsepower. It got dynoed on Tuesday and it was a fine, it was up there. So just basically just a couple of setup issues and go over the car again and just, hopefully we get a bit more time out of it. So.
Well, there's a pretty big field, 19 in the field. Who's your rival? Who do you love racing with?
Chris is always good to race with. I've raced a few times with him. Both the Rose boys, they're both fast, always good. Millsy, they're all good. The top 10 really is just all close. We're all within 0.2 normally or something like that. So it's always good fun racing up the front. Yeah, Lee is always fun to race with. He's a new guy. He's second time this year racing. Last round I think he got 4th. So he's up there. He's going to be fast, so it should be good.
Well, there you have it. Cameron Bella's big expectations. Didn't qualify the best, but here at Phillip Island, hopefully for another round win. After a difficult 2014, Mark Talbotts had an up and down season. Mark, in the 944, the season wasn't the best for you last year, was it?
No, it wasn't. We had a few dramas last year. Started with a blown engine in the first round in qualifying, which we then missed the following round while we got a new engine put into it, and it culminated with a broken gearbox and then a big crash, which everyone saw on Blendline in the third round of the championship. So we got the car fixed up, thanks to the guys at Bella Motorsports, did a great job. It's looking straight and good again, and we had some reasonable pace. We came back for the last round of the season last year, and a bit quicker yesterday in first practice, but it was a little bit damp, so I was a little bit weak today on the car. So we'll see how we go in the race and try and move up a few positions.
Yeah, qualifying 14 is not ideal, but you have a lot of fun out there, and you have a good bunch of groups, a group of guys you race with. Tell us about that little group.
Yeah, look, we do. I mean, there's a few of us. There's myself, Jim Gallagher, who's AI Industries is sponsoring the weekend. There's also the Westaways and Dickie Howe. So there's a bunch of us which are sort of trying to be in that. I guess trying to move up into the lower part and hopefully into the top 5 in the lower part of the top 10. So we'll see if we can move through and pass a few guys today. Car had good speed yesterday, so we'll see how we go.
Well, Mark Talbotts qualified 14th. Hopefully he'll move through the field today and have a better finish by the end of Sunday.
Race 1 highlights now from the Porsche 944 Challenge presented by Aluminium Industries at Phillip Island, and it was clear blue skies that greeted the competitors, all 18 of them, as they made the run down into turn 1 at Phillip Island. You can just see at the front we had Brent Rose and Lewis Williams. Kane Rose was also there, Adam Mills, all of the regular suspects. You can see there Kane Rose to the inside of Adam Mills. Brent Rose sitting in behind. The two Roses going to be hard to distinguish this year. Both of them running very similar cars, of course, with Melbourne's cheapest cars sponsorship on the side of each of them. Red and green to sort of tell the two of them apart. And just look at that. You've got 10 cars all in with a shot at the front of the field, including Lee Partridge in the red and white Porsche there, just in behind. A newcomer to the category this year, and he was having a fantastic first drive in the series, doing well to stay up with some of these more seasoned campaigners, one of which we're going on board with now, Graham Smith, who is all over the back of Cameron Bella. Smith has spent a lot of time working this car out and working his driving style out around it, and he's starting to see so many great rewards now. Looking further back, and it looks like we've got Gallagher off, and that is also Sam Rofe on the other side. So we'll have a look at a few replays here. Richard Howie first, very wide into turn 1. He's gone across the grass towards turn 2. He's going to have to be careful here with the rejoin. Oh, slides out in front of the field. So that's probably why that gap emerged in the early stages that we saw. Now looking further back, and we can see, oh, Tolbits and James both having a spin as Doherty takes avoiding action. Tolbits ending the spin there quite nicely right in front of James. You can see here both of them getting on that AstroTurf. Doherty doing the best job, just taking avoiding action to the inside. Had to be careful across that wet grass. And then the final one of the first run. This is Marcus Katrina having a spin. Rofe has a hit there, and Gallagher getting involved as well. On board with Gallagher. You can see as Rofe tried to go around the outside of it, he unfortunately tagged Gallagher, hit Katrina as well, and 2 cars out with damage. Gallagher would continue, though not from a very comfortable position. Looking back at the racing action, and we've got Doherty and James here having a great battle. The two of them were fighting for 12th place in the race at this stage. Both of them pushing pretty hard. Unfortunately though, they would both end up as retirements before the end of the race with a few different issues, which we'll see later on. James returning to the pits slightly before Doherty, and just as the two of them had the battle, you can see here, this is what happened to Doherty. Slides off at turn 1. Oh, he's firing backwards onto turn 2. Has to be very careful. Tolbits taking avoiding action, so Doherty did it earlier on in the race, and Tolbits got to return the favour later on. This one was a great battle going on between Richard Howie, Lee Partridge and Tony Westaway. Lee Partridge leading the way at this stage of the race, though as we go on board with Howe, you can see he'll start making up a bit of position on Partridge up in front. Partridge, of course, doing a great job coming to the Porsche Series in the Plaza Auto Sales car. Howe behind in the Melbourne Performance Centre backed car, and he would get past him before the end of the race. But at the front, these three were pushing hard. Lewis Williams trying to find his way past a Rose wall in front of him. We had Brent Rose leading the way, Kane Rose in second place. Adam Mills was sitting back in fourth, holding off Cameron Bella. He managed to do that to the flag as well. So our first race done and dusted. A great race from the guys. Brent Rose leading home Kane Rose. Third was Chris Lewis Williams. Fourth, Adam Mills. And fifth goes to Cameron Bella. We'll be back after the break with more action from the Porsche 944 Challenge presented by Aluminium Industries on Blendline TV. Welcome back to Blendline TV, and you can just see here Richard Howie having a spin on the warm-up lap as the guys got ready for the second race of the Porsche 944 Challenge presented by Aluminium Industries at Phillip Island. That was just a taste of what was to come in this race. Horrible conditions out there, very, very wet, very cold early on Sunday morning, and we go on board with James Gallagher as he runs away from the line. He would miss the action that happened directly behind him as we had Mark Tolbits, Richard Howard and Tony Westaway come together. You can see them there heading towards the fence. Two yellow cars going in each direction, and just a really unfortunate start for them as we go on board with Richard Howie. He gets a good initial launch. Just listen for the wheel spin here. There it is, and he collects Westaway, gets Tolbits, and the three of them go into the fence all together. And unfortunately, that was the end of Howie's weekend. Mark Tolbits would get the car back out there for race 3. On board with James Gallagher, and he would suffer a very similar fate as we exited Honda heading towards Siberia. You hear the wheel spin there. He collects the side of Graham Smith, and as the car goes backwards, bang, straight into the door of Smith again. So the two of them inseparable in that spin. You can see from the outside there as Peter James also joins in the action and having a spin out of Honda of his own. Not to be outdone, Howard would also have a spin. Brent Howard this is, out the bottom of MG. Graham Smith rejoining the race of avoiding action. And it was just absolutely treacherous. At the front, they were not immune to it either. Brent Rose leading quite comfortably. And then unfortunately, on the run up to Lukey Heights past Hayshed, he would slide off the track. Chris Lewis Williams very lucky not to follow him. And Brent Rose finds his way Kane Rose finds his way across the track. Brent Rose would inherit the lead, but Chris Lewis Williams did not want to let it go. He'd get back in front of him there, and the battle would be on between the two of them. Chris Lewis Williams probably not with quite as much speed as Brent Rose in the wet conditions, but his skill would keep him on the island a little bit better. Cameron Bella sliding off as well. That would lose him a position to Lee Partridge behind. There he is. So Lee Partridge getting himself up into third place in this race in the early stages. A great drive for him. Good for his sponsors as well, who are very involved with his racing career. And you can just see the guys were having all sorts of issues. Coming down to Honda yet again. Chris Lewis-Williams holding the lead. Brent Rose closing in on him slowly. Cameron Bella would have a look to the inside, and there goes the rear. Around she comes. Lee Partridge handed back the position. Adam Mills says, I'll take one too. And Cameron Bella left with it all to do yet again as he drives away from Honda out to Siberia to try to chase them down for yet another time. At the front, the battle was on in earnest. Brent Rose had managed to get past Lewis-Williams. The two of them fighting tooth and nail for position. Lewis-Williams doing very well, of course. He's our defending 2014 champion, and he wants to stay at the top of the championship and take home yet another title. But he's going to have a lot to fight with here with these Rose boys. Of course, Caden Rose had those earlier dramas and was well down the field by this stage. But look at that move from Lewis-Williams down the inside at Southern Loop. Takes it away, and the two of them just tiptoeing around the circuit. Lewis-Williams there, the back stepping out on him under brakes as he comes down to Honda yet again. Managing to keep Brett and Rose behind for now, but it would not be long before the battle was on again as the guys go past some of the saloon cars which were also struggling in these conditions. Everybody just finding it really difficult. You can see Brent Rose taking a different line to Lewis-Williams over the top of Lukey Heights and down into MG. Lewis-Williams with a few twitches. Rose manages to get past, but the savvy driver Williams is. He switches back and takes the position away yet again. So the battle for the lead was not going to be let up by either party. Neither of them felt like they were out of it once one driver got a slight upper hand, and it was just going to continue and go on and on and on till the end of this race. It would literally be a fight to the death till the checkered flag came out, and Rose was not going to lie down and take it easily. Coming down the straight, you can see he's trying to get into the draft. Not quite with the pace, but his mid-corner pace was pretty good. And down into Southern Loop yet again. He's showing the nose, but pulls to the outside, taking some alternative lines, which is what you do in the wet weather, of course. Trying to find where there might be some grip, because you want to stay off the rubber down section of the circuit, because of course that's a little bit more slippery in these sort of conditions. But Lewis-Williams showing his skill and managing to stay in front of Brent Rose in these stages of the race. The rain did not look like it was going to ease up before the end of the race. It was just staying pretty constant out there. Freezing cold conditions, so there was no hope of really getting any heat of any sort into the tyres. But Brent Rose would not give up. He took it to the outside yet again over Lukey Heights. Forced Lewis-Williams to take a very defensive inside line down into MG. Lewis-Williams getting the much better drive though out of MG, and he'd managed to get himself a little bit more comfortable in the lead after that. Lee Partridge was doing very well to hold off Adam Mills. Cameron Bella had not found any pace to sort of come back at them. He had dropped off a fair old way, and Adam Mills just sitting in behind, probably waiting for opportunity to knock to get past Lee Partridge, because really in these sort of conditions that's what you needed. Lee Partridge very defensive down the inside in MG. Adam Mills trying something different and going around the outside, but not quite close enough to do anything about it. So he would have to settle for fourth place in the race. As around to the finish, these guys come for third and fourth. Chris Lewis-Williams had taken what in the end was a comfortable victory. Almost a second over Brent Rose, who would get home for second place. Third would go to Lee Partridge, a fantastic result for him. Fourth, Adam Mills, and fifth would go to Cameron Bella, returning after those few spins and incidents we saw for him. So a great second race for the Porsche 944 Challenge. We'll have more action after the break on Blendline TV. Race 3 now for the Porsche 944 Challenge, presented by Aluminium Industries. And you can see, at least at the beginning of the race, the weather had cleared up for this one. The final race of the weekend, and down to turn 1, we've gone 3 wide in the very early stages. Adam Mills saying, I can get myself up there. Brent Rose not wanting to give an inch, and Chris Lewis-Williams trying to stay at the front after his second race success. Brent Rose, though, would get to the inside. Lee Partridge falling a little bit back, and just look behind them as Kane Rose and Cameron Bella come out of turn 2, the southern loop. You'll see they make contact on the run down to Casey Stoner curve, and Kane Rose rotates in front of the field. Lee Partridge, a fantastic effort to miss him there. Great awareness driving. He lost a position to Graham Smith, but a lot better than T-boning Rose, who was just, well, he was gone by that stage and had no hope of saving the car. And unfortunately for Kane Rose, that would be the end of his race weekend. Returning to the pits after that one, pretty major wheel damage to the car, and he just could not continue. On board with James Gallagher, just watch Michael Westaway up ahead. He has a lose here at Southern Loop, Siberia. Wampa straight in the front of James Gallagher. That makes 3 hits for 3 races, and the Aluminium Industries car was really in the wars this round at Phillip Island. He'll be hoping for better luck as the series moves to Sandown next, but doing well still to finish each race after some of the issues he's had. On board with Cameron Bella and the battle at the front, you can see Chris Lewis-Williams lost out to Adam Mills in the early stages there. Cameron Bella now in 4th place and staying in touching distance to these guys in front. We know the young bloke did so well in the championship last year. He really wants to move that Bella Motorsports car up the field further and possibly get the number 1 on the door for 2016. But if he's going to do that, he needs to get past this man, Chris Lewis-Williams, who is in behind Adam Mills right now. Pulls to the inside. He may well make the move stick here. Down to the inside. Yes, he's got there. So Lewis-Williams gets back up to 2nd place in the race. Mills does not look like he wants to give up without a fight, but Lewis-Williams a bit too strong into Southern Loop, and he now needs to get out after Brent Rose as the rain starts to come back again. You can see it there on Cameron Bella's windscreen. That'll be enough just to unsettle the guys into the back half of this race, and it is really not what you want, especially if you've set yourself up for a dry race. At the front, these 4 have started to pull away, but we've just got, you can see there, yellow flags in the back of shot, a safety car coming out, and that's because there is a few issues on the first lap. We go on board with Cameron Bella to have a look at the replay here with Kane Rose. Just look at how his wheel was ripped from his hands there. Watch again from the outside. There's Rose. They collect and touch on the run down the hill. Lee Partridge just does so well. Such great awareness to not hit the other car there. And then on board with Gallagher. Wait for the contact. Bang! Straight in the back of Westaway. And it was Westaway who would bring out the safety car because unfortunately he'd roll back on the inside of Siberia and just get bogged a little bit on the dirty verge of the ripple strip and not be able to move the car. Back to green flag conditions, and you can see Lewis-Williams did not want to give up the chase of Brent Rose as James Gallagher got another hit. We'll have a replay here, and off the start he comes down the inside of James. Now wait, there'll be a saloon car that will enter stage right. Turns him across the front. Look at that. How scary would that be? Turn 1 at Phillip Island and you're looking at the tyre wall. Not what you want to see, and unfortunately for Gallagher, that would put the nail in the coffin for the weekend and he would pull out of this race. So unfortunate for Gallagher. A little bit more fortune for Lee Partridge, who after we saw that huge moment with Kane Rose earlier on in the race, was starting to have a battle with Tony Westaway. These guys fighting for 5th place in the race, and great news for Lee Partridge. He would manage to get past Westaway and take 5th place by the end of the race. Back at the front though, and Cameron Bella did not want to give up on his battle with Chris Lewis-Williams. Adam Mills just sitting there with a bit of a watching brief because these two he knew would fight hard for position. Brent Rose was starting to pull away a little bit at the front of the pack. He was just finding these weather conditions a little bit better than most. Of course, you had to choose your setup before going into the race, and some guys had set up banking on the rain. Others had set up more for a dry, and some had taken a compromise, like this man, Chris Lewis-Williams. He'd taken the compromise, and that lost him a position early on to Cameron Bella, who managed to drive around the outside at turn 1. You see now Lewis-Williams will tuck in behind and try to see if he can claw his way back up to the rear of the Bella Motorsports car, which is twitching on its way out of Siberia. So Bella leaving nothing on the table and riding on board with him. Watching his onboard around this circuit, he is pushing hard. He's leaving nothing on the table and letting that car slide under him. He's showing some great car control and doing very well considering he took that big hit early on. You can see there Lewis Williams to the inside, locks the rear brakes at the end of the stop, and Bella has to take a little bit of evasive action as they make their run now to Siberia side by side. Look at Bella fighting that steering wheel, sits back in behind Lewis Williams. He's going to cross over on him here on the run to Hayshed. Very aware driving, he checks where Mills is as well, and now is to the outside. They'll be side by side. Here's the outside shot. Yes, look at that. Cameron Bella around the outside at Hayshed. A great move, but Lewis Williams is going to try to stick there up to Lukey Heights. No, he has to drop in behind. So Bella fights back. The two of them swapping positions, back and forth, just doing a great job of racing and putting on a real show for everybody here. Unfortunately, the rain, of course, is making things very difficult for them. As we go back on board with Lewis Williams, who's going to look to the inside now. I don't think this is the place to do it coming into the final corner. But what he'll be looking to do is get a run onto the straight and just look at how heavy the rain is coming down. But then, looking down towards turn 1, you can see blue skies out of Lewis Williams' window now. So the weather just doesn't know what it wants to do, but it looks like Lewis Williams knows what he wants, and he's going to return the favour on Cameron Bella. Around the outside at turn 1, he's going to make that move stick. Yes, he has got there, so well done to Lewis Williams to take back second place in the race, but neither of them, while they battled, would catch that man up in front. Brent Rose would come home for, in the end, a very comfortable victory, almost 10 seconds over the rest of the guys, as Lewis Williams leads Cameron Bella down. Adam Mills sitting in 4th place. Enough time for a little bit of a slide there because he had a huge gap over Lee Partridge as well, who had got involved with that battle with Tony Westaway we mentioned earlier. Here's Cameron Bella. He'll be happy with 3rd place in the race. The guys have had a bit of a difficult weekend, a few mechanical gremlins in that car, and to get a 3rd place and continue his championship run is good for him at this stage. But the best man of the weekend was Brent Rose, leading home Chris Lewis Williams, Cameron Bella in 3rd place, Adam Mills 4th, and 5th goes to Lee Partridge. Wayne Healy caught up with Brent Rose after the race to get his thoughts.
All sorts of weather here at Phillip Island, which never disappoints us, but congratulations Brent Rose on a great, fantastic round win.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. No, we had a great weekend with the car. We only got the car a couple of weeks ago, and my dad and Kane have done a great job to get it on the pace, and yeah, we got pole position, which was great, and took out the first race, and second in the second race to Chris, and won the final. So yeah, really good weekend overall.
It is a bit of a family affair with you guys. You have a great tussle with your brother. Your brother come off a couple of times, so you got the wood on him. Yeah,
it's a bit of a shame that Kane didn't have the best of weekends. Yeah, I think he's had pretty much bad luck every session, so. But it was still good that the Melbourne cheapest cars for us to bring it home. So yeah, overall a good weekend for us.
Well, this obviously helps you in the championship. You did miss the first round. Where's the next round for you guys?
Next round's at Sandown. So yeah, we're there in about 4 weeks' time. So we'll try and do it all over again.
Well, congratulations. The car looks fantastic. Great racing. And let's see how he goes at Sandown next round.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed the Porsche 944 Challenge presented by Aluminium Industries here on Blendline TV. We'll have plenty more action from the series in 2015. Make sure to check out our Facebook page and YouTube channel for more great video content. Until next time, I'm Daniel Beckinsale. Bye for now.